Hi there, just been replacing the bearings in the sprocket hub of my Ducati ST2 1997, and we'll be also replacing the bearings in my rear wheel. Just there. Got new sprockets. Actually that's another hub which I bought separately with nice bearings, but that's just a spare hub. But that is the new sprocket I'll be putting on. And also bought a new front sprocket as well, reducing at the front and increasing by 1 at the rear to actually increase the acceleration and make sort of slower running higher gear easier. Cleaned the chain was in very good condition, so I just cleaned and oiled the chain. Got the bearings here to go in. So basically I've used this tool, it's fantastic. Heated it up to a really good heat all around with the heat gun, and then pulled. I'm just finishing pulling now actually. So just as we pull this out, it became so loose in the end, which is brilliant. There's 2 bearings in there, as you can see the 2 bearings. What I noticed was when I was actually taking the sprockets off, actually just to clean the sprockets and check everything, that undoes, and that sprocket will come out of the actual tool. But what I noticed was that when I ran firstly the sprocket carrier on my finger with the bearings, there was a graunching noise in the bearings, which you couldn't notice actually when it was just on the wheel spinning on the sprocket. So I thought, right, time to replace the bearings there. And also when I spun my finger, I spun it, the rear wheel, for those 2 bearings, and notice they ran smoothly, but there's a bit of graunching in there, so time to replace them as well at the same time. So as I say, new sprockets. There's the old one actually, that's a 15. Yeah, now got a 14 at the front, and that's a 40. Sorry, just focusing here. That's a 40. Make it out. Sorry, I've forgotten what I've increased it to now. That's a 43, and it was a 42. The rear sprocket. That's right. Which is that one over here. That's the old sprocket, which it says somewhere. Yeah, 42. See that it says 42. Now that sprocket wasn't actually too bad. You can see there's a bit of pulling there here and there, but actually that will do another thousands of miles. But as I wanted to increase the sprocket sizes on the rear, decrease on the front just 1 to get that difference in acceleration. Obviously it will rev higher obviously in the different gears, but it will get a different pull, and certainly trundling around town on at lower speeds below 60 actually, you can run maybe a higher gear, be more comfortable for it, so that'll be interesting to try that out. So we've got the new bearings there. These are the of interest, these are the small ones. So in the, let's get the bearing out, try one hand, so it is. In the actual, the new bearing, in the actual rear wheel itself, that's that size bearing, which is slightly smaller, obviously same internal because the spindle goes through there. I'm going to pop those out and then replace them with the new ones. And with the sprocket carrier, we've got these ones which are larger, obviously it takes greater stress, greater torque, and they just will pop in there. So as it's still quite warm at the moment, they're going very nicely, and these are cold, these bearings. So it's actually quite a nice time to pop them in right now, as I've got the sprocket carrier so hot. I've also cleaned out the slot there where the pin goes. Pin somewhere here. It's over here. Yeah, where the actual clip goes. Once you put the bearings in, that slot's in there, in that groove. But also we're going to make sure these are nicely honed down, which I'm just about to do, both of those. yeah, going very nicely even initially to tap home. So I'll tap home individually, one after the other, and making sure they're tapped right home to the base there, both of them. Yeah, I've got the actual sprocket holder where I can barely touch it, that hot, and it came, they literally just pop out. Now inside these bearings, inside the actual bearings of the sprocket holder there, you've actually got this insert here, which goes on top there to finish off once the two bearings are actually in, and that sits on, actually, that's the wrong way around, sorry about this, completely wrong way around, just lost my bearing. Yeah, so that actually goes in at the back, like that. That sits in there, like that. That, as it were, it goes in there. So, whoops, get it up there right around. So that goes in there, like that, and that goes, as you can see what I mean. It's easy when you've got the bike in front of you and it's all in there. And then that slots in there. I had to drive this out first, which it drove out quite nicely in there, but it was very, very tight in there, that spacer. And that goes into the back, and then on top of that you then finish off, that pokes out, as it were, the top. I'll present it like that. That pokes out the top, and that literally just sits on there, like in line, once those two bearings are obviously in, and that's the whole setup. So a bit of work just to press them out, but I found this tool, this press, absolutely fantastic. And you get it with all the different press pulls. And you've also got if you want to do it by hand and bang it out, you can, but it's quite a bit of work, and there's no need with the puller. It's got the as it were, the bangers, which you crunch that up and down, fix that in that end, and then just crunch it up like a hammering action. That, with that going up and down, it bangs it out. These actually, don't know if you can see, but they're split. There we go, better light there, you can see they're split. And as you, first of all, when you put it in the actual bearing, put it in like that, as you can see here, and you widen it up so it's tight in the bearing, so everything's nice and solid. Then obviously you then wind that down, once that's splayed nicely there, onto the hub, sprocket hub, and that draws it out. Fantastic tool, just came out smoothly. But I tried it initially without heating the hub, and no, it would have taken a lot of pressure down on the hub itself, which wouldn't be a good idea, because of course this is cast magnesium alloy, so alloy, so you don't want to put any pressure on that at all. Well, that's pressing down there, so that's why I heated it up thoroughly, and it worked a treat. Just came out very nicely with that. So yeah, with the wheel, slightly different matter. You've got an inner there, which joins, obviously that goes between the inner tube, goes between the two bearings, one on that side